Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. It's time for a base game mansion. Some of you have been requesting a base game build for the longest time now, and it's been a while since I worked on a base game house, so I figured it's about time to finally create another base game mansion. I didn't use any packs for this. It's completely CC free. It's also unmodded. I'm going to use the tool mod in some areas. You can see here how I'm doing it, for example, but it's still unmodded in the gallery. So you only need the base game to grab this from the gallery. It also works on console. My ID is KateEmerald. You can just grab it and let your Sims move in. So if you only own the base game or a couple of packs, then this build is perfect for you. So I have created plenty of round builds over the years and also some out of the ordinary round builds, and I just figured it would be so cool to create a build like this, a really over the top unique build that is base game only. So in case you are into my round builds, into my over the top modern mansions, and you only own the base game, this build is for you. It's kind of a base game version of my usual style, and you can here see how I'm using a nightstand from the base game. So usually I'd use the pristine pedestal from Get Famous, which is a small table, just a little white cube, and I use it all the time to create round shapes. Here I'm only working with the base game, so I had to find a alternative, and I decided to use this beautiful nightstand. The shape is a bit difficult, so you just kind of see the drawers in the front, so you have to make a decision which side you want to face, outward or inward, when you create a circle using this object, but it's a really cool substitute if you don't own Get Famous. This object is called the Simplicity Nightstand, and you can just find it where you find all nightstands. But let's talk about the build itself and the shape. So I wanted to have a circular shape, and I wanted it to be shaped like a donut kind of. So there is a hole in the center, and I'm going to build a pool in the center, and there will be a beautiful palm tree. So I used a rug which I sized up and I placed it in the center, and this is kind of the shape and also the dimension of the build. I just followed the outline of the rug in this way. I make sure that it's perfectly circular, and I'm always using this rug as a guideline. So I have deactivated all packs, so I'm only using the base game here, but even when I'm using all packs, I'm always using this specific rug, and I don't know why, but I love to use it. There are multiple round rugs. I think there's even another one in the base game, but I'm always using this one. And at this point I have created a round shape already. For the outside I used a base game debug column, so it's just a column, and I rotated it just by holding down Alt on my keyboard and the left mouse button, and when you then move your mouse you can rotate objects freely, and that's what I did. So I rotated all these columns and I placed them at the edge of my rug, and I created walls, and these are of course no proper walls kind of, but there will be a proper indoor area. So I'm going to attach a kind of a big room, you could say, using the room tool, and the living area and everything will be on the inside. And I decided to use all these outdoor areas kind of inside these round sections for different things. For example, a beautiful pool area, a area for having a barbecue. There will be a greenhouse area where Sims can just plant some veggies and fruits. So I just wanted to use all these different areas for different things, because it's always a bit difficult to use an outdoor area like an indoor area, because the weather is an issue, and of course the lighting. So I just didn't want to turn these outdoor areas into proper indoor areas, if that makes sense. I just didn't want to build a kitchen out there, for example. So it's kind of like a garden, you could say. And here I'm working on the inside circle, so it's a nice little donut, as I said. So this will be the pool in the center, and I used a different swatch for this just so I could see where the smaller rug is ending and where the other one is beginning kind of. So I've used another version of this. It was kind of weird to use a different swatch. I'm just so used to use the dark blue one. And I placed lots of simplicity nightstands on the outside. It's weird to say this because I always say I use lots of pristine pedestals to create this round shape, but in this case it's lots of simplicity nightstands, I guess. In some areas I used the tumor to duplicate all my simplicity nightstands because once I had created the perfect shape and curve, it was just quicker to duplicate it. But you don't have to do this. You can just put all the work and effort in and rotate each individual simplicity nightstand. So this is just, I mean, it's tedious, I have to admit. Like, the whole process is tedious when you work on a build like this, and also confusing. You just kind of have to figure out what to do and how to turn this into a proper build. I just built the room that I talked about, so this is just a proper room using the room tool, and there's a roof on top, or a platform in this case, and this will be the inside of the build, like the proper indoor area. But first I have to finish the exterior. So here I'm just placing one of these columns on the outside to really finish this side of the build. At this point I had only worked at the front of the build, and I wanted to hide some of the real walls inside these columns. This is why I made some of these walls thicker, so it's easier to kind of hide a wall in there. And I placed this base game debug flower bed in the center, and I then used more simplicity nightstands to kind of hide the edge. I wanted this to look really modern and minimalistic, so I just wanted to use more simplicity nightstands over there. And I then just placed a palm tree in the center, and this will be a pool, as you will see in a second. So I wanted this to be really fun and functional. So there are multiple outdoor areas. As I said, your Sims can grow some veggies if they want to, but they can also have a swim and just enjoy the garden. And they can also go on the inside and just have a normal indoor area. So while this build looks very out of the ordinary and extra, and it is extra, I guess, it's still functional, and it's just a normal build after all. So I've deactivated all packs, so only the base game is active here, and for this I'm always using a very helpful tool by James Turner, which can be used to disable packs. It essentially gives out a command line which can be added in Origin, and then all packs are deactivated. I'm going to link it in the description box. A big thank you to James Turner for creating this amazing tool whenever I'm working on a base game build. It's just so helpful because you don't have to filter by base game. You don't have to be cautious to not use an object from any packs. So it's really easy to just navigate through build mode and to just create a proper base game only build. I mean, there's also the holiday celebration pack, which is free, so everyone can grab it for free. And some people really like to argue about this, like, is it still a base game build when you are using objects from the holiday celebration pack because it's like completely free and everyone can have it? I always try to keep it base game only, not because I think it's not a base game build if you use the holiday celebration pack, but some people seem to think so, so I just leave it out so it's easier. So it's just really a base game build. But I think even here, when you deactivate all packs, this pack is still active, I think. I'm not sure right now, but for many people it just counts as base game, which makes sense. It's free, everyone can grab it, so there are no limitations. You literally just have to grab it and download it, and I think it technically probably is base game. But this year is really just the base game, no holiday celebration pack or anything. Also, speaking of packs, new kits came out, a cast kit and also one for building like a tiny beautiful campground in the garden for kids, and they can watch a movie and have a sleepover and stuff. There's like this tent thingy where you can put a bed in, and I'm going to, of course, release a beautiful build using the new kit because I think it's super cute. I never grab the cast kits because I don't create Sims and I don't play, so I'm only really getting all just the building kits, and I'm really excited about this one, so I can't wait to show you. It's a really cute small kit, but I think my all-time favorite kit will always be Courtyard Oasis. Like, it's my favorite kit of all time. I know that a lot of people like complain that there isn't enough content for kids in the game, so I think that this kit is like really cool. So you can just really build something for children in this game, and I mean each life stage should be like important in this game, and I feel like this kit is just really cool for just having something going on for the life stage of children in this game, so they just have some fun outdoor activities and stuff. And I mean, I'm not a game player, but like generally I understand this, like it's true, and I think it's really cool that they listened and just released this wonderful kit, and it's just beautiful. And also I've been thinking about this, I really wish we had some more neutral swatches for really every pack. Like it's a pack which is like, it is about children, so it's colorful, it's really happy, and you just have all these very colorful, beautiful swatches, which makes sense, and I'm all about that. Like that's really cool, this is how it's supposed to be for a kit like this. But at the same time, I wish we always had a really neutral swatch, like white, gray, wooden tones, I don't know, at least one of them. So even if a item looks really colorful out of the ordinary, if you have a really plain simple swatch, you could repurpose it for other stuff, like for other building styles, for other things, because sometimes it just would make sense to have like a really colorful swatch, like depending on the style you are going for. But I mean, I can't really complain about this because it's supposed to be colorful. I'm just saying I'd love if we had a neutral swatch in general for each item, and imagine the same neutral swatches for each object in the game, so everything would match. No matter which table we get, no matter which chair we get, there's always like a certain set of neutral swatches, and you could combine all of them. Like this would be the dream. But I don't know, maybe in the next Sims game or something. I think it's too late for this now to just kind of overhaul all these swatches, but I think it would be really cool. It's just something to keep in mind when they create the next Sims game. So I hope this could become reality. I don't know. Yeah, I'm working on the garden a bit. I just wanted to have more round shapes. I just did the same thing. I placed lots of simplicity nightstands, and I just used the pool tool to fill the area. I'm going to add some fountains to this area so it looks extra fancy. I just built a beautiful garden just to sunbathe, swim, have a barbecue, just a regular beautiful garden. And then I started to work on the floor plan and the interior. So you can here see how I'm opening up the floor. I built a basement below this area, and I'm removing part of the floor just so you could look down to the level below. I just want to open up the floor just like you would do for some really beautiful grand stairs, for example. But in this case, I just didn't want to make the basement feel and look like a basement, if that makes sense. I mean, it is a basement after all, but the whole floor plan was so unique and different because of the whole donut shape that I had to create more rooms below the surface so I could really include enough bedrooms and stuff. But I didn't just want to have a sad basement down there, so really wanted to open up the area at the top where I'm going to build the kitchen, so it feels more connected and open, like a loft and not as much as a dark basement. And I think it turned out beautiful. But first I decided to add more to the garden. I added this wonderful hot tub, which was added in a free update, a really controversial item, but I love it. I'm just happy that we have a hot tub in the base game. It essentially looks just like the one from Spa Day, but it has like this little roof thingy on top, like a gazebo, and I think it's super cute, and it just fits perfectly into the garden. I love the neutral swatch, and I think it's just cool that the Sims can enjoy a hot tub. And then build the kitchen. This is just this regular modern base game counter. I used a white swatch, and I once again rotated lots of objects because I wanted to have a nice curve to the kitchen. I wanted the kitchen counter to have the same curve as this round shape that I created when I opened up the floor, kind of. And you can here see how it seems to be much more open, and it just doesn't have some weird basement vibes. It seems like a loft kind of, and I really like the floor plan. It's really unique. And here I built a living room, so it's like a beautiful open kitchen and living room. And at this point I've just noticed how far the base game has come at this point, because over the years more items were added to the base game in several updates, and I'm just really happy. Like this chair, for example, is brand new. Actually, it was added to the base game only a couple of days ago. And there's also a new table that I think I'm using it in some area here. I don't remember. So this is part of the outdoor area. This table was added in another base game update like a year ago or so. I don't really remember. It was created by a CC creator. I don't remember which creator created this specific table, but all of the items which were added in this update back then are just amazing. This is like a really small nook, and you can't really see here, but I removed some of the base game columns at the bottom, so it's like a doorway essentially. So all of these areas are connected. You can see it a little bit better over here, so the Sims can just walk through this area, and you see it on the left side a bit. So I have all these columns at the top, but I removed them at the bottom like a doorway, as I said, and I just added a bar and just sofas. And this is the basement. I built one bathroom down there, which is kind of for everyone, including guests, and then I'm going to build 2 bedrooms, and each bedroom, as you can see in the background a bit, has its own bathroom. So both bedrooms are en suites essentially. One is like a master bedroom, and I wanted the other one to be more of a kid's room. So this is a perfect home for a Sim family, and it's a bit over the top, but as I said earlier, it's functional, and it's also perfect for a Sim family. But I mean, any Sim could live in this. You could use it for all kinds of different things. I also think it's like a super fun bachelor pad. It's really out of the ordinary, and you could always just change some of the furniture. You could turn this room here into a guest room. You could do all kinds of different things. And this is it. Here you can see lots of screenshots, and this build is available in the gallery. My ID is KateEmerald, and you can also grab the tray files from my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons. A big thank you to Asia, Saturated Spark, Shannon McClam, Elle, Teresa Mathies, Shada Chase, Talena Lynn, Tina Turner, and Emma Barnes. A big thank you to all of you for your huge support. A big thank you to all my other Patreons. Thank you to anyone who watches my videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope your Sims and you will enjoy the build. It's CC free and unmodded in the gallery, as I said. And yeah, just go grab it and have some fun. Let your Sims move in if you want to. I hope you will have a absolutely perfect day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.